They whisper like flowers with the teeth in their grin. I shrink myself down, try to quiet the din. One wrong word and the court is in session in Wonderland. Every glance is a question. I wear my guilt like a velvet crown, ashamed before I even break down. Hyper aware, yet I still fall apart. Every stare feels like a dart to the heart. Welcome to Wonderland Unlocked, with Courtney guiding through every thought. Borderline in Wonderland, this is the place where shame wears a smile and hides its face. But here we name it, we speak what's true. No judgment can undo the real.
Welcome back, dear listener, to Wonderland Unlocked, where we peel back the curtain on the curious, the chaotic, and the deeply human. I'm your host, Courtney, and today we're swinging. Literally. Episode 76, The Mood Swing Vine, Climbing Up and Crashing Down. We're going deep into the rhythmic, unpredictable, and often misunderstood world of mood swings through the lens of borderline personality disorder, and, of course, with a twist of Wonderland. So grab a vine, just watch your grip. Some of them snap. Let's begin in a garden. Not the kind with tidy rows and trimmed hedges, but the tangled, overgrown garden tucked behind the Queen's castle, where the vines seem to move when you're not looking. Where things bloom out of order, where the flowers whisper, the mushrooms giggle, and nothing stays still for long. This is where mood swings begin. Not as sudden crashes, but as tendrils, thoughts, sensations. A moment of connection that blooms into euphoria, or a glance that curls into despair. Mood swings with BPD don't always come from nowhere. They come from the smallest somewheres. The quietest sigh in a friend's voice, a delayed reply, the shift in energy in a room, the smile that doesn't quite reach their eyes. One text message, one silence, one internal whisper that says, they hate you now. And it's not just the words, it's the physical shift, the temperature in my chest, the tightening of my jaw. My body knows before my brain can explain it. When I'm climbing the vine, it feels electric. The air is charged, every color is brighter. Music sounds richer, I'm sharp, witty, alive. I can do everything. I'm charming, hilarious, brilliant. Everything is clicking. I feel connected, needed, like maybe. I'm finally okay. But I never know how far I'll get before the vine turns to smoke, because sometimes I'm mid-climb and suddenly something shifts. A joke doesn't land. A smile fades too quickly. And that vine I was swinging from, it thins out, frays, and disappears beneath me. Sometimes I don't even feel myself start to fall. Just bam! And I'm in the dirt. Sometimes in tears. Sometimes in rage. Sometimes both. And sometimes, worst of all, I disassociate mid-fall. I watch myself spiral like I'm behind glass. I want to scream, make it stop, but the words don't come out. The vine isn't just fast, it's deceptive. It tells me this will last. It tells me you finally figured out. And then it leaves me crumpled in the mud, ashamed for believing it in the first place. I used to think that this made me weak, too fragile, too reactive, too much. But now I'm starting to see this is what emotional intensity looks like in a world that doesn't know how to hold it. I'm not making it up. I'm not broken. I just live in a garden that other people don't see. And the vines here have lives of their own. Let's spend some time with the up. The up isn't always mania-like and bipolar. It's more of like hyper-feeling. High-definition versions of life, like someone turned the saturation up and the volume on my heart all the way to 10. When someone compliments me, it's not just nice, it's transcendent. I feel seen, chosen, like a single sentence just rewrote years of self-doubt. Like, when I like someone, it's not just a crush, it's a full narrative, a future, a shared tea set, a place list, an inside joke, a promise. There was this time I made a new friend at work, and just after 2 conversations, I was planning our matching Halloween costumes. I imagined road trips, matching tattoos, sleepovers like we were 12 again. I saw our friendship as fate. A storybook. Wonderland level connection. Like maybe this person had always existed in the background, and I'd finally spotted them through the trees. That's what the vine does. It doesn't just lift you, it enchants you. It tells you this time is different. This time you'll be safe. This time you won't scare anyone away. The vine coils around your hope and says, hold on, we're going higher. And during those moments, it feels like healing. It feels like all the loneliness you've ever carried has finally cracked open into light. You wake up with ideas, you text paragraphs, you laugh so hard your stomach hurts. You get sudden urge to deep clean your entire room, repaint your walls, call your mom, start a YouTube channel. Everything is possible. And if you pause long enough to ask yourself, is this too much? The vine whispers, no, you are just waiting to feel alive. I used to mistake this for stability. I'd say, I'm doing great, because the contrast between despair and euphoria is so intense. Any upward motion feels like progress. But high up on the vine, the air is thin, and I start moving too fast, talking too fast, trusting too fast, and hoping too fast. I can't always tell where the joy ends and the urgency begins. I start making promises I can't keep. I overextend, I overshare, I overinvest. And then I grip tighter because I know the vine won't hold forever. There's a dread that creeps in even during the joy, like hearing a distant rumble during a picnic. Because somewhere deep down, I know the vine doesn't care if you're ready to fall. It doesn't ask permission, it doesn't give warning, it just lets go. And when it does, everything that once felt like healing suddenly feels like a setup. And then, the crash. It really takes something big, a missed call, a weird look, no emoji on the text reply, a laugh that I wasn't included in. The spell breaks and the vine becomes a whip. It slingshots me into the worst case scenario without warning. They don't love me, they never did. I'm too much, I've ruined everything. I was never safe up there, I was delusional. And just like that, the joy curdles into panic. Suddenly I'm spiraling, usually in silence, or worse, in chaos. My thoughts scatter like cards tossed by the Queen of Hearts herself. I can't grab onto one without the other screaming louder. My chest tightens, my stomach drops. My vision narrows, everything feels urgent and awful. The meltdown begins. I've cried in public bathrooms over imaginary rejections. I've deleted entire message threads because rereading them hurt too much. I've blocked people I adore just to protect myself from a goodbye that hadn't happened. I shut down completely during family dinners because I sensed a shift in the air, like someone was disappointed in me and I couldn't survive knowing it. To the outside world, it seems irrational, dramatic, overblown. But inside, it's a war zone. Alarms blaring, inner critic screaming, child wounds wide open. It feels like emotional TNT going off in a tiny room. And I don't always cry. Sometimes I rage. I raise my voice. I get sharp, defensive panic. I try to do something, anything, to stop the freefall. And other times I just go silent, numb, shut down, disconnected from everything, including myself. And then the shame. The shame is quiet but cruel. It waits until I'm wrung out, curled up, emotionally exhausted. And then it whispers, see, you always ruin it. It echoes every other time I felt too much, been too much or not enough. It reminds me of the friendships that faded, the people who pulled away, the times I scared someone I loved. The vine doesn't just drop you. It gaslights you. It makes you question whether you were ever stable at all. Were you ever actually happy, or were you just fooling yourself again? I look back up with suspicion. I dissect it. I shame myself for hoping. I call myself embarrassing, desperate, pathetic. And that's the cruelest part. Not the fall itself, but how I treat myself once I've landed. The crash isn't just a drop, it's an accusation. It says, you should have known better. And even when others try to help, I pull away. Because how do you explain a fall from a vine that no one else could see? Let's talk Wonderland. Mood swings are like the Queen's Court. One moment, you're a guest of honor. The next, it's off with your head. Alice's confusion, that's real. The rules change mid-sentence, logic warps, the vine wraps around her ankle, and she's up in the air again, wondering what she did wrong. Maybe the vine is like the Cheshire Cat's tail, curling, twisting, disappearing just when you think you understand it. But here's the secret. Even Wonderland vines have roots. And sometimes that root is trauma. Our nervous system learns to survive through hyper-awareness, through high highs and deep lows. It's not dramatic. It's protective. Until it's not. People around us often struggle to understand. To them, we're moody, volatile, dramatic. But if they only knew how hard we're trying to hold the vine still. Because that vine, it's the thread between us and the people we care about. It swings wildly with every emotional gust, every word or pause or silence we can't quite interpret. Relationships can trigger the biggest swings. Intimacy brings both euphoria and terror. One kind word can lift me sky high. One slight shift in tone can undo me completely. Sometimes we seem overly sensitive. Sometimes we ask for reassurance again. Sometimes we pull away right when it seems like we're getting close, and then rush back in desperate to undo the space we created. This isn't manipulation. It's panic. It's the body going into fight or flight at the smallest change in emotional weather. It's trying to protect ourselves from abandonment before it ever happens, even if it wasn't going to happen at all. So we withdraw, or we cling, or we flip between the two like a pendulum we can't slow down. Because the fear of losing someone feels like losing everything, and sometimes we just can't take the swing anymore. So we try to cut the vine altogether, convince ourselves we don't care, that we're better off alone. We go cold, shut down, numb out, stop responding, and stop feeling. But it never lasts, because the world without connection, it turns grayscale, flat, muted. And we long for color again, even if it comes with a crash. We want to be loved, but we're terrified of love. We want closeness, but closeness feels dangerous. We want to trust, but trust feels like handing someone the power to destroy us. And still, we reach. That's the part people don't see. How brave we are to try again, to risk another vine swing, to open up one more time. Because deep down, we're not trying to be difficult. We're trying to find safety and connection. We're trying to believe that someone could stay not just for our best moments, but through the chaos, the spirals, and the mess. We're trying to believe that the vine might hold, that we're not too much to be loved, too intense to be kept, not too broken to be chosen. So when you love someone with BPD, or you are someone with BPD, know this. The vine may shake, it may snap and regrow and tangle, but it's rooted in something real. The desire to feel, to connect, to be seen, to be held without needing to perform. Even in the chaos, there's love. Even in the storm, there's hope. Even in the vine's wild swing, there's a heart that's just trying to reach you. And maybe it's time we stop calling that broken and start calling it brave. So, how do we live with the vine? We stop trying to cut it down. We stop blaming ourselves for its wild movements, and we start learning its rhythm. We learn to notice when it tightens around our chest or coils behind a smile. We pause when it starts to pull us towards panic, not with judgment, but with curiosity. We whisper, is this the truth or the swing? Because sometimes the vine tells us stories that feel true, that everyone is leaving, that we ruined it again, that we are too much, too intense, and too unlovable. But sometimes those stories are echoes, not facts. They're old ghosts tangled in new moments. So we breathe, we ground, and we soften our grip. And then we build supports, therapy, where we untangle the knots without shame, medication, if it helps ease the storm clouds overhead, rituals, a mug of tea, a weighted blanket, a walk in the late afternoon sun, people, the ones who don't flinch when we reach out again, the ones who say it's okay and mean it. We learn to let both closeness and space be okay, to ask for connection when we're scared and silence when we need to exhale. And we tell our stories just like this. We say out loud what we used to live only in spirals. We speak the secret languages of panic and tenderness and hope. We become the mirror someone else needs, so that the next time someone crashes, when they feel the swing, when the vine goes taut and trembling, they'll remember that they're not alone in the garden. Because maybe the vine doesn't need to be ripped out. Maybe it needs tending. Maybe we grow alongside it. We plant new ones, gentler ones, woven with boundaries, with joy, with real connection. We won't always climb neatly. There will be still moments when we fall, but we start climbing differently, with more grace, more awareness, and more trust in our ability to come back. This isn't about being cured. This isn't about being fixed or perfect or always calm. This is about being kinder to ourselves while we climb, about letting go of the shame that says we're too much, and embracing the truth that we're just enough. Because here's the thing I keep learning again and again. I'm not broken. I'm built for intensity. I'm built for color, for contrast, for wildness, for love that roars and tenderness that trembles. And that's not madness. That's Wonderland. Thank you for swinging through episode 76 with me, the mood swing vine, climbing up, crashing down. If this resonated with you, or if you ever felt like a vine has carried you somewhere too fast, you know you're not alone. Share this episode with someone who doesn't get it, or someone who does. And as always, keep unlocking your wonder. Until next time.